call this beat Will Smith, cause it slaps hard. Hear it not when I pull up on your boulevard.
So this guy has a question about vetting women early on the dating process. I did a video earlier this week talking about the Russell Brand situation and how these women are coming out the woodwork to, talk about how he allegedly did stuff to them. And in that video, I was talking about the consequences of male promiscuity and how when you're sleeping with a whole bunch of girls early on, you don't necessarily know which one of those girls is going to want to come back later to bite you in the butt if you happen to dump them or just one night stand them or whatever. So while I'm an advocate for, hey, if you have the skill, you want to go out there and bang a bunch of women, just if you're going to do that, know what's coming with that. And if you're willing to accept it, then go and have fun. But don't be surprised if some of those women come back later and try to say things about you that are disparaging or that you did this to them or that in hindsight, they didn't fully give permission, yada, yada, yada. All right. So anyway, this guy had a question. He said, so is there a way to vet for this in early dating? Since I've really gotten into dating, I've realized that a lot of women have problems in their lives. That's so true. This is why I tell you guys, it's very pertinent that you don't judge a woman in the beginning solely on her looks. Our hormones are going to take over and say, she looks so hot, I can totally trust her. And you will find out some of the hot women that you think are the hottest of hot also have the most problems of problems. All right. So just as you get older, you learn this. So I'm telling you, younger guys specifically, don't lead with your little head, lead with your big head, and make sure that this person has their head on straight before you start trying to just do a bunch of things, not thinking that it'll be totally fine, even if they're a little off, because they could be a lot of off. Anyway, he says, I realize that, yeah, they are pretty and nice, but some girls seem to hold back, tell me their issues, or just seem insecure. And if I continue dating them, I realize my issues or insecurities come out, or they seem way messed up than me. How can I vet early on for someone who is healthy that I can grow with? I'd rather know early on now so I can break it off so I don't get emotionally involved with an unhealthy situation. Took a few situations of experiencing this to realize how it can affect you, but I learned the hard way and am now ready to change that. Okay, so here's the honest truth, is that guys could definitely do a better job at really paying attention and listening to what women are actually saying and the actions that they're actually doing at the beginning of the courtship. Because let's be completely honest with ourselves, guys. If it's been a long time since we've gotten any, when we finally get a girl that agrees to a date with us and says yes, all we're thinking about is, how can I impress her? And, oh, she's so pretty, I don't want to ruin this. And what can I do? And what can I do? And we don't stop and think, well, wait, I need to be asking her questions that are going to allow her to give certain answers that are going to let me really know what her personality's like, what her past history's like, what her dating scenario's been like in her past. And because we're so focused on A, not messing up, and B, trying to get a hookup, we will hear girls say things and completely ignore it. I've been on dates before in the past where I heard girls say things like, oh yeah, well, all of my exes were abusive. And my thought was like, well, I'm not going to be abusive because I'm going to be a nice guy and blah, blah, blah. And then come to find out, oh, well, she was starting some of those fights in those relationships. And she was the one that was coming on too strong. And as we were dating, she was the one that was over texting, over calling, being jealous when I told her I'd be going to a party with friends or asking me where I'd been or whatever, But if I was being honest with myself, on that first date that we were on, she said, I've been in the past, everybody always treats me wrong. She had this story as if she's always the victim in every single relationship. That's a big red flag. Like the fact that somebody's saying that they're always the victim, they're always one being done wrong, that means they're not doing enough self-introspection to see what they could possibly be doing. Like I know in my dating journey, for a lot of years, I was mad at women. And then one day I just looked up and wait a minute, there were some good girls in there. They couldn't have all been crazy. You are the common denominator in all this stuff. You must be a part of the problem. There must be something about your dating patterns or the way you're showing up or how you're presenting yourself to women that is causing you to have less success. Maybe we should look at that. So I say this to say a big one is to really listen to women when they tell you stories about their dating past. Women that say they've been divorced a bunch of times or they were married for 1 or 2 years and then they broke it off, or like I said, having a victim mentality. Oh, all the guys I've ever been with have done me wrong. Or if you're at dinner and she talks to the server a certain way, or you take her on like a relatively cheapo date, which I advised in the beginning, and she's complaining about how, oh, well, I've been to other more fancier restaurants, or this other guy took me out to this other thing, blah, 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 blah. Like anytime a woman's doing stuff like that, or showing a lack of appreciation, or not saying thank you when you do certain things, or is trying to order you around to do things on the date, these are all indicators that she's probably one of those women that doesn't have her head completely on straight, or she's been hurt in the past. And unfortunately, hurt people. Like you're thinking when she says she's been hurt in the past, that you're going to be that new guy that's not going to hurt her. And you're going to be a totally nice guy and give her a whole new world of possibilities in terms of the dating realm. And what you're not hearing is that when she's saying, I always get hurt, that she is a wounded puppy, and wounded puppies tend to fight back. They bite, they scratch, they claw. They don't want to listen to nobody. So you're gonna be the guy that's listening to all my stuff, obviously, and is trying to like lead your relationship. And you have somebody there that, because she's afraid of men, doesn't want to listen to you, and is afraid you're gonna take her into like levels of unsafety, so the stuff. These are the women that you don't want to date, because what's gonna happen is if you decide to date them, at some point down the line, a time's gonna come where she's going to do something that upsets you. It just, even the women that are most well-meaning, when they're getting to know you, they're going to do something of some kind that's going to possibly upset you. And when you bring it to her, that's not a thing, or why would you say that about me? Or she's going to start crying, whatever. And then at that point, anytime you guys get into a fight, well, no, you're the one to blame. It's your fault, yada, yada, yada. And then you're going to get tired of it and break it off. And that's when she's going to try to retaliate and go after people that are in your circle to talk bad about you, or to post up stuff about you on social media, or a plethora of other things that women do. I've seen some videos this week about retaliations of things that women have done when a guy just didn't want to see him anymore, that would blow your mind, that I may say for a different show. But I generally try to keep the show positive, because ultimately, I think if you're trying to get with women, you need to focus more on the positive things women bring to the table versus the bad things. But that said, really do a better job of doing due diligence early on. Again, your little head's going to be like, oh, girl, woman, smells good, nice, I want to do things. Dude, if you can here's another thing too. If you can delay hookup gratification a little bit longer than you're used to, that'll really give you time to start seeing how consistent a woman is in her behavior and what she's really about, how she actually treats people. It'll give you more time to talk to her about her dating history and about the things that have gone wrong. If she could see anything in her past whereby she was actually the one that was responsible, you can hear stories about, how she cheated on her last boyfriends, or how her last boyfriend cheated on her, or how she could sometimes get a little aggressive. It's interesting because the whole, obviously, Young Jeezy and Jeannie Mae are now getting a divorce that he filed for, right? And so everybody's making some brouhaha about she must have done something bad, because the fact that he filed means that this is a really big deal. But I'm like, if you look at interviews that Jeannie Mae was doing back in 2017, 2018, she said on one of the shows, well, my grandma, my mom, and me, all the history of being yellers and, really being stuck up and whatever. And it wasn't until Jesus came along that I recognized that behavior. But she had 41 years of that behavior. So Jeezy comes along, and the first fight they get in, she's trying to be argumentative and yelling and cursing. And he didn't think that was going to happen, or that was going to keep happening long term. Women telling themselves, dude, I'm telling you, women cannot hold up the facade of having it all together longer than 3 or 4 months. But most guys are trying to do is rush into a relationship after a month and a half, or 2 or 3 good dates, thinking, I already know that she's cool. She looks hot and attractive. We've done it a couple times. We cuddled up and had deep conversations. And so therefore, she must be a great one. And you are giving these women too much credit early on. Don't do that, because they don't do it to us. Most women don't assume after a month of dating that, this guy's got his stuff together, I automatically trust him. No, they do their 2 to 3 months of due diligence, in part, honestly, because they find that in their past, when they didn't do that, they ended up with guys that weren't the best guys. So now you got to think that same way, okay? Don't assume because she looks hot and you have a few good conversations that she's going to be all there, because you're in the process, you're not doing the proper vetting that's going to allow you to see that she could potentially be a woman that ends up doing the stuff that these women are doing against Russell Brand. Again, all the stuff's alleged right now. I said my piece about how I don't like the fact that we're always going to judge people now based on public opinion versus court opinion. All these anonymous people are coming out and saying he did this stuff, and they just now filed a police report about this stuff like a day ago. So again, that's a whole different show. But the point is this, is that, yeah, so that's how you can be better at this, is be more patient in the beginning, ask better questions, don't try to hook up so fast right away, and really, really pace out 2 to 3 months time to really get to know this person before you start having any thoughts of being in a relationship, and really, really listen to the stories women are telling you, what they're saying about their exes and what they're saying about their family life, what they're saying about their dating life, about, you know, how often they hook up with people. Like, all these things will give you a better idea of what she's going to be like on the other end should a breakup happen. So hopefully, Guy, this helps you out.
You's a bad boy, but you can't stop, won't stop. You a high-earning, high-value, high-class man. You a high-earning, high-value, high-class man. You a high-earning, high-value, high-class man. You a high-class man. You a high-class man. You a high-earning, high-value, high-class man.